much for the lovely introduction. I'm Mennah Solomon. I'm a junior at CAS, majoring in biology on the pre-med track. And as you've all established at this point, we're here to talk about rebellion. Rebellion. To me, it's resisting or challenging conventions. Rebellion is so important because now is the age for rebellion. We have finally every capacity that is tailored to our generation so we can unite and demand that our voices be heard. We have the capacity to do so finally. Internet, one of the most powerful tools that we can use to do so. Now is the time to stand together and defy racist and sexist laws that have been products of miscommunications and very old, misguided times. I am here today to speak from personal experiences, from rebellions that I partook in on a societal level, starting with my life growing up between two revolutions that now shape the future of my home country, Egypt. Then a population level. Population level. As I grew up, I realized one specific example that really opened my eye to the necessity to speak up as a woman. And finally, on an individual level that is characterized by the countless rebellions I have to go through because of my upbringing and culture. I grew up in the Middle East, and news of wars and rebellions breaking out in neighboring countries is the norm. So I would beg my parents to watch the news growing up. I just really despised, I meant cartoons. I would really despise watching the news. But that was until the day my parents came to me and said we couldn't go back to Egypt for winter break because a revolution has broken out. For the next few days, our eyes were glued to the TV as we watched tens of thousands of people march to Tahrir Square in what we now know as the 25th Jan Revolution. I remember tears in my parents' eyes as we saw these protesters take down a decades-long dictatorship using only peaceful demonstrations. It was a dream that most of us hoped desperately that it would come true, but very few actually believed was possible. When I look at these people, I could see that all the odds were stacked against them, and yet they did something so great, so profound, paved the way for us, the new generations. And then I looked at myself and I knew that I could do something. I could make the world a better place too. Too ambitious maybe, but I'm trying. So the next time it happened, I was 11 years old. It was 2013 when the next revolution in Egypt took place. I marched out in the street. I screamed for rebellion and justice at the top of my lungs. And oh boy, it was so liberating. I was with my grandma in a peaceful protest when bullets started flying around. One even landed a couple inches from my foot. I could have so easily died that day. Forgotten. 11-year-old, no one would have cared. If it weren't for the few protesters that shielded some of the children. I specifically remember one of them addressing the young crowd saying, "You are the future. You will have better means. So do not give up. Our principle lives within you, so just make sure that our lives are not wasted." I took that to heart. I understood the importance of this experience. I took a step back and knew that I had to find a cause that I so wholeheartedly believed in, a cause that is worthy of taking down a whole system without a glimpse of fear. That's what it took. And I yearned to find that cause that I'm so passionate about. So next we fast forward to my life in Saudi Arabia. I grew up there. And it was such a struggle to get even the tiniest of tasks accomplished. And I'm talking playing a sport, joining a debate club in school, or even volunteering in a soup kitchen. Why, you ask? Because I'm a woman, and that clearly is not the preferred gender there. But the breaking point truly came when my parents and at least 100 other individuals could not leave the gates in Mecca after the pilgrimage. We were held back in fear of overcrowding. And I know, it sounds very understandable, there are over 2 million people, but the guards were only allowing the Saudi families through. And something didn't feel right. It was a 6-day-long pilgrimage. We were so tired. My mother had just had a surgery. My sister was this little, was literally struggling to breathe. As you can see, it was supposed to be a video, but we're just gonna have to make do. There were hundreds of people trapped there. So I started pleading the guard to let us through. And when that did not work, I started taping. I knew the internet was the next powerhouse. I could get my words sent out to all corners of the globe. And then I threatened to post it. I wanted to post that footage. And up until that point, he did not address me. He would only talk to me through my father to threaten me to quiet down. But at that point, the guard looked at me straight in the eyes and, well, he swore that if I didn't stop recording, he would break the phone in my face. I was so taken back, but I didn't stop recording. So the few guards encircled my family, formed a human siege. The whole family was detained, and then they started aggressively patting me down, looking for that phone, looking for that footage. Imagine how traumatic it is for a 15-year-old to go through all that in front of my parents, knowing their hands were tied. I had this experience happen to me by the very people who were supposed to protect my rights, by the very people who were supposed to uphold their country's law, Islamic law. They did recover the footage and deleted it. We left. But I'm so thankful to Apple because that was the year they came up with the recover footage. So I rejoiced. I have this footage now. I vowed to myself that there will come a day I will have a big enough platform and I will show people how mistreated women are, because very little voices are heard from Saudi Arabia and countries like Saudi Arabia. I wanted to continue in the path of feminist leaders like Lujain al-Hathloul, and for those who don't know, she is a Saudi feminist activist who has been detained in Saudi prison for over 1,000 nights. Why, you ask? Because she dared to scream at the top of her lungs that women also need to drive. They should have the ability to drive. It's so simple. It's as simple as that, really. But I realized something from this experience. I was passionate about my freedom. And I realized I would do whatever it takes. I will rebel for as long and hard as it takes for me to break free from the system, a system that did not empower me for my gender. But, there's always a but. One more rebellion stood between me and pursuing my dreams. This is my family, my first birthday, and then my high school graduation. I rejoiced as I got acceptances from universities all over. But they said their little daughter cannot be allowed to travel to the West. The extended family even expressed firm rejection. It was against our culture. It was so difficult for me to stand against the people I hold closest to my heart. But I knew that this was my one chance. I could not give up now. If I give up now, my one little opportunity to incite one significant change will be forever gone. So I didn't. And this is the life of an elder sister. I am still literally convincing them that I made the right decision, but my younger sister just applied to American universities this semester, and she's gonna get in. She's gonna go. So I think this is a win in my book. I stepped back from this experience and once again realized that rebellions don't come in distinct sizes. You don't have to really partake in a revolution to be a rebel. And they most likely don't have a fixed duration. You just gotta work for as long as and hard as it takes for you to get to a goal. If you believe firmly in it, then nothing will matter. With that, I want to also address that you should make no mistake. I've had my fair share of moments where I was doubtful. Why choose the harder path? Why go through all this trouble? Everything could be catered to me. I could stay with my family. But I can stand here confidently saying to you guys today that every leader and every innovator that you can think of and remember has had to rebel against the ordinary. I'm a rebel, and you are too. Each and every one of you, I know it. And whether you're like the protesters in Tahrir Square screaming, عيش حرية عدالة اجتماعية, which translates to bread, freedom, and social equity, or even if you're standing alone in front of a doubting parent, trying to make a strong argument for yourself and pursue your dreams, I urge every single one of you, sincerely urge you, to go and find a path, find a cause that you feel so passionately about that you can rebel against the convention within which you will never fit. Trust me. Thank you. With that, I leave you.